What's the worst thing you can say in an elevator full of people? True story, my mom and dad were in a crowded elevator while my mom was very obviously pregnant to the point of bursting. I guess she looks at my dad and says, "When are you going to tell your wife about me?" My parents are happily married. She was just pranking him. My dad said it was the longest elevator ride of his life. My mom, sister, and I went on a vacation. While in the elevator, my sister joked, "The reason we brought you here was to break the news you're adopted." The man in front of us turned around and said, "And I'm your real father." The doors opened and he walked out. It was the best timing and absolutely hilarious. I was shopping at the grocery store and a guy was with his wife, girlfriend. She picked something off the shelf and said, "I like these balls better." Her boyfriend, husband giggled at it, and she said, "Oh gosh, you're gross. Is that the kind of stuff all guys think about?" I turned around and said, "Yep." Another guy in the aisle turned around and said, "Yeah, pretty much." A third guy agreed, as well. She threw her hands up and stormed off laughing, and we all gave each other the nod of approval. Me, a 33-year-old female, also would have giggled at it. Pretending to talk on a phone. "Well, the doctor will let me know as soon as the test results are back if it's tuberculosis." "What do you mean I get to name the illness?" "Well, I guess I could call it super contagious anal fungus, but that's not a very catchy name. How about elevator syndrome, in honor of where I first caught it? Supercalcium-fungus-ketoacidosis, even though the sound of it needs quite a bit of lotion. Since your ass reeks all the time, you'll always be the grossest. Everyone around you says you fucking smell atrocious. Before we start, does anyone want to get out? I'm sorry, I have to do this. Fart's the most atrocious gas that levels the likes of Hiroshima. My grandpa farted in an elevator with a priest once, and it was so bad it made the priest use the Lord's name in vain. Absolute legend. At the risk of turning this into a worst fart stories thread, my friend once stank out an entire train carriage. People at the far end were covering their faces. A baby started crying. My eyes were watering. Absolute scenes. If that priest was exposed to something like that in an elevator, he was probably saying his last rites. On my 8th grade DC trip, I let out the most silent but deadly, defining fart I've ever experienced in my life on our completely enclosed charter bus hauling a good chunk of my class. I thought I was in the clear until someone in the front of the bus shot up and yelled, "Ayo, who shit their pants?" I pretended to be asleep at that point, but I couldn't contain the smile on my face, so I gave it away. You should have said, "He who smelt it, dealt it." Smile with a halo. I would not mind an entire thread of worst fart stories. For some reason, they are just too hilarious not to cackle at. I was once eating in a packed Waffle House and had to fart so bad. I leaned over to one side to let out a silent killer, but all I really did was put half my body's weight onto one cheek and let out the most tense fart I've ever let. It sounded like each decibel pulse was about 100 decibels. Then I started laughing. Couldn't stop for a full 5 minutes. Last time I was on a plane, the dude next to me fell asleep and was letting them loose. I had to sit next to him and endure it the whole ride. Before we landed, I took my headphones off and overheard the woman behind me bawling, and the people around her were consoling her. Apparently the lady was pregnant and puked from the fart smell and had to keep enduring it for the whole 2.5-hour flight, so she was crying the whole time. The people around her were yelling at other people nearby to stop the farting, but the dude was still asleep and just kept on doing his thing. Horrible yet hilarious. When I was in labor with my first kid, I had to roll to help move the baby after the epidural was in. My husband and a tiny cute little nurse were helping to roll me onto my side, when I let loose the most horrendous uncontrollable fart, right in the nurse's face. Like, just a couple inches from her face. My husband struggled to contain his giggling, then I broke out in laughter, then the nurse broke down as well. She said that they're not supposed to laugh at things like that, but she figured if I laughed then it was probably okay. I once farted in a fabric store so hard I shit myself. It was like a small mom-and-pop place in downtown Tustin, CA. Girlfriend was looking at stuff. I was entertaining myself best I could. I had a fart coming and I thought I'd sneak to a corner and let it pass. Once I started, I couldn't stop. Liquid just came pouring out. It stank immediately. I realized a light breeze was blowing through the open door, spreading my shame around quickly, then I could escape. My girlfriend knew immediately what happened, apologized to the owners, and turned to leave. She just said as she passed me, "You know I really liked this place," and left me. Standing there, in an attempt to regain some form of dignity, I walked out with my head held high like nothing happened, but I knew they knew. They wouldn't ever forget. Don't say anything at all, but take the whole trip standing at the door, facing in. Look at everyone with a big smile, to make them feel safe. I'm watching, smile. While reading this, can confirm everyone would feel extra safe with this. Oh, definitely. You have to smile as wide as possible, and don't blink the whole ride to make everyone feel extra safe. I love that half the comments are all about farting and the other half are all homicidal maniac one-liners. Perfectly balanced. Has anyone seen the movie Devil, where people get stuck in an elevator? And someone goes on a killing spree? That noise your body involuntarily makes right before you're about to puke. Hjork herp huen. Be sure to hold your mouth and arch over into a hunchback position and let your body lurch forward suddenly with each sound. And GT, Hjork herp huen, well, there it is. All written out. Perfectly accurate and perfectly disgusting. Stand in the corner facing away from everyone. Bang your head against the wall and say, "No, I won't do it. No, not again." Reminds me of a friend I grew up with. We'd be traveling and she'd get her kicks at whatever hotel we'd stayed at by sitting in the corner of the elevator holding her knees and rocking herself, waiting for the doors to open, tears of joy. We must have the same fucking friend. If you grew up in Lake Tahoe, then we definitely did. Are you a fish? Oh my god, you can't just ask someone if they are a fish only because they live in a lake. Saying the floor numbers out loud. And as you start going up or down, say the numbers with increasing excitement. I would actually like being in an elevator with someone who did this. I love getting excited about the things we take for granted. Elevators are amazing inventions and it really is cool to get lifted higher and higher. I am a delivery driver and anytime I'm in an elevator with people I say, "You hear about all the people who died in this elevator?" If anyone responded with, "Yes, I hear they were all murders and one old guy who had a heart attack because he was so scared when he heard about it." That was me and I made it up. That was good for me. How was it for all of you? I vouch that this is the worst. They'd spend the next weeks questioning themselves about what you meant. Remember, no Russian. Don't try to be a hero. You forget 1,000 things every day. Make sure this is one of them. Wearing an earbud, Bluetooth earpiece and saying, "The target is in the elevator right now." Dress in a suit too. My friend and I did this in our teens. Slicked back hair, suits, briefcases, sunglasses, the whole thing. We had rehearsed our lines, a back and forth between agents. Do you have the package, kinda stuff? But no. As soon as someone got on, one of us started laughing, the other started cackling. Then we were both laughing so hard it turned into maniacal laughter. By the time the poor old guy got off, he desperately pressing the next floor and door open button. Teenage shenanigans. Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun. His shenanigans are cruel and tragic. I've always been a fan of, "This body is weak. I must find a new host." This is equally terrifying imagining me, part-time wheelchair use, objectively weak human, saying this as my colleague, professional weightlifter, objectively strong human, saying this. Alternatively, you could team up. You say the line, "Go limp." Then they shake a moment and go, "Aw, much better." Elevators always remind me of my first victim. So who wants an orgy if the elevator gets stuck? Worst thing, not the best thing. Have you seen the majority of folks who ride the elevator? Trust me, you don't want to be a part of that orgy. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Gotta go. Big sigh, never mind, too late. Smile and stare at the wall, relax, relax. Dave, everything gonna be alright, they don't know anything. They can't hear your thoughts. Only you can see them, Dave, they're no threat to them.